Welcome, welcome.
Hi, good evening.
Hello, welcome to the Summer Opportunities Info Session. Hello, Ria.
Hey Val, how are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm good.
Good, 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 good. I'm not, I don't love the time change. It always throws me, especially since it gets dark so much earlier, but doing the best we can.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Do you have like late classes this semester?
Yeah, I have a class that ends at like 6 p.m.
Oh,
So,
oh no. Yeah, I remember in grad school, a lot of my classes would end at like 9 or 9:30. They'd be like 7 to 9:30 p.m. And it was like, oh, having to walk back home was not fun.
oh yeah, that does not sound like the best time.
No, but it's like all the undergrad courses that the professors would teach would be during the day, and then the grad courses
Oh
would be
yeah.
teaching. Yeah, so just different schedule. Hello, Kaylin.
Hello.
It is now 6 p.m., so that means we're going to wait a little bit longer in case there's anybody who is running a little bit late. So we'll start in just a couple of minutes, but thank you to those who are here already. You can see the slide screen. If you have a second, please introduce yourself in the chat so we know the people that we're talking to this evening, your name, your major, and your year in school, just to get to know a little bit more about y'all. For those who are just joining us, thank you so much for being here. We're going to wait for maybe a couple more minutes in case there's anybody who is a little bit late logging in. But I'm thinking in about a minute or two, we'll start. But in the meantime, if you wouldn't mind sharing in the chat your name, your major, and your year in school, that'll be helpful for us. Thank you, Kenna and Maddie, for already introducing yourselves. Hi, Warren. Kate. Oh, hello, Anna and Gavin. All right, well, nice to meet everybody. And again, if there are more people joining us, I will be sure to let them in and out of the waiting room. But without further ado, we can get started. Thank you so much to everyone for joining us for Summer Opportunities with National Fellowships. My name is Valerie Weingart, and I am a National Fellowships Advisor here at the University of South Carolina. And I work primarily with first and second year students. And summer opportunities are a great experience for first and second year undergraduates. But no matter what year in school you are, there are a lot of fantastic opportunities that take place in the summertime. And the reason why we're going to highlight these is because sometimes there is just not time for a fellowship experience during the academic year, whether it's scheduling related, or maybe you're doing on-campus research or something where you need to be here at USC. It's not always possible to be taking time away from the academic year to participate in a fellowship. That's where the summer can be a really impactful time. And it's going to be a rapid fire type of overview of national fellowships. And we've got some special guests that I will introduce in just a moment, but let's get to it. So I'm going to provide an introduction to what National Fellowships are. Some of you, I think, know what National Fellowships are already. Either you've met with me or I know you. So we will review that quickly. We can also connect you to people who can help you engage in the process of applying for a National Fellowship, whether that's an advisor such as myself or a fellowship ambassador, which is a current USC student. There are a lot of different resources that we'll talk about. Then we're going to start the broad overview of summer opportunities that are available to you. This is not an exhaustive list. These are just some of the most popular awards that students from USC tend to be interested in. Know that our database has a lot more possibilities, and we're here to talk to you about any of those. So you can always meet with us to follow up. And then we're going to reflect on what makes a strong applicant and get some insights from our student fellowship ambassadors who have participated in these awards. If you have any questions throughout this info session, which is being recorded, just so you know, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I will also have time for questions at the end, and I will stop the recording before those questions take place. So the recording is just going to be the bulk of the presentation here, but happy to answer anything if there is something in the chat. So what are national fellowships? Our tagline is get free money to do cool things, but is it really that simple? Well, it definitely can be, but we have a little bit more of an official definition. So let's break it down into the component parts. National meaning nationally competitive. This is not funding from the University of South Carolina. Our team does not have this money, but we know who does. And this can come from organizations, foundations, even parts of the government that have funding for experiences and opportunities that students from all over the country and sometimes even all over the world can apply for. If you're hearing the word competitive and thinking that that's very daunting, I encourage you to don't spiral into that quite yet, because competitive and being a competitive applicant is about being the right fit for an opportunity. And that's something that our team can really help students unlock, is figuring out how your interests and your goals align with a particular opportunity that's out there. So we help students recognize their own competitiveness as applicants and find that perfect opportunity that they're really excited to apply for. And we really emphasize the value of going through that process, because you can learn a lot about yourself and really set yourself up for success with future applications. There are also over 300 national fellowships offered. These are the ones that at least we know about. We learn about more every day and do add them to our database. So it's more about fit. There's over 300 of them, so we help you find that right fit. So what is a fellowship exactly? It's an award and an opportunity. It's a source of funding from that external source that can lead to all kinds of different experiences. That can be just pure college tuition, which really is that free money. It can lead to funding for international experiences, research opportunities, even internships, and the focus of tonight, summer programs and more. It can even be funding for graduate school as well. So lots of different opportunities through national fellowships, and we're here to help you navigate that. Just something also important to point out, we are not USC Financial Aid and Scholarships. Again, that is a different office. They do fantastic work over there, but that's not us. So if you have specific questions about USC financial aid, they can answer those questions. Again, we do not have this money. We just know who does. So who are we when I'm talking about the National Fellowships team? So we're here on the third floor of Decisor College, where I'm coming to you from live on this Wednesday evening. So we're on the historic Horseshoe, available for in-person or virtual appointments. And even though we are technically housed within the Honors College, we welcome and serve all students on USC's campus. So any student can make an appointment to meet with us. We do have some areas of specialization within our team. So our Director of National Fellowships is Jen Bess. She works with nominated competitions. So those are particular fellowships that require a campus endorsement or nomination process. She also is the go-to person for if you're thinking about going to the UK. So she is the expert on the UK awards. Next up is Heidi Bretz. She works with international fellowships. So if you're looking to go abroad to the UK or elsewhere, Heidi can really help you to manage that and is your source for all things international. I'm Valerie. I help first and second year students get their start with national fellowships and try to get the word out as much as I can about all that our team can offer students and all the things that fellowships can unlock within an academic and college experience. And then our newest team member joining us at the beginning of October is Akila Awan, and she is our STEM fellowship coordinator. So if you're a STEM student or interested in anything STEM related for a fellowship, Akila is a fantastic source of information for that. So we've got our team of four advisors. We're all cross-trained. So if you talk to me and want to talk about a STEM award, I can absolutely talk with you about that. Same goes for other folks on the team in different scenarios. But just know that if you're looking for more of a specialist, then you can make appointments with us accordingly. And then in addition to the National Fellowships team, we also have fellowship ambassadors. And these are current students who have won national fellowships. Before I click over to their screen, I just want to make sure everybody can see the screen that I'm sharing, correct? Fantastic. Otherwise, this would be super awkward. All right, so here we go with our fantastic fellowship ambassadors. So I'm going to hand the screen over to them and allow y'all to introduce yourselves. Kaylin, you can kick things off and share a little bit about who you are.
Yeah, so as it says on the slide, I'm Kaylin. I'm a senior English major with a minor in history. I have won two specifically summer opportunity national fellowships, including the UKSI Fulbright Summer Institute, where I got to study history at the University of St. Andrews, and then the Critical Language Scholarship for Russian.
Thank you, Kaylin. And Rita.
Hey everyone, my name is Ria. I'm a junior biochemistry major, and I participated in the NIH Summer Internship Program in DC, which is a summer research opportunity.
All right, we're going to be talking more in depth about all of those fellowships throughout tonight's presentation. So when those come up on the slides, Kaylin and Ria, the floor will be yours to talk about what those experiences were like and also your application process and how you discovered that you were the right fit for that particular opportunity. So excited to hear more about that. But the Fellowship Ambassadors, there's about 20 of these students who are available to meet with you about national fellowships. We have a Coffee with a Fellowship Ambassador program. So there's a very large support system here for you at USC, and so they are yet another fantastic resource for you as you consider applying. So we're going to break this list down into summer opportunities for STEM majors and then summer opportunities for a variety of majors. I have a question in the chat: is are graduate students eligible for any of these fellowships? The answer is yes. Some of these are specific to undergrads, but then there are some that are open to graduate students, or if we're not talking about a specific grad student opportunity this evening, there is a form of the fellowship that can be applied for by graduate students. If you have specific questions, really encourage you to make that follow-up appointment because we can help you continue to explore. So if you're not seeing something exactly tonight, not all hope is lost. But just know this can great opportunities for a packed schedule. All of these operate over the summer. And then if you're not a STEM major, these other opportunities, which STEM students can still absolutely apply for. There are great opportunities for like outside of the classroom, beyond the classroom experiences. So you can really take what you're learning in class and broaden those experiences. And if there is a particular opportunity that you want to have, they're like, this is just not offered at USC, even though we have a lot of great opportunities. These summer experiences are a really great opportunity to take the advantage of something like that, to pursue something that's not offered here in Columbia. And as I said, along the way, as we go through these awards, our fellowship ambassadors will chime in about their experiences, but I hope that at least one of these will be exciting and interesting for all of y'all, and we're happy to meet you for an appointment to follow up if you want to learn more. So we're going to start with NSF REUs, or National Science Foundation Research Experiences for Undergraduates. And if you're wondering, Valerie, why is there a link on this slide? It's because you will be getting a copy of these slides after the presentation, and you can click right to the actual website. So NSF REUs are research experiences that are hosted by universities all across the United States, and there are a few international ones we're finding now in select disciplines. So these are fully funded research experiences in STEM fields and also some social sciences projects as well. Your travel is funded, room and board is usually covered, and you get a stipend for your research. So you are being paid for those research hours. The NSF has an enormous database of these different opportunities. There were over 600 the last time that I looked, and you can filter that by particular area of study, but also the area of the US or the world that you would like to go to. So you can filter by both of those. There are no specific uniform deadlines across all of these different fellowships. They all, since they're operated out of different universities, they'll have different timelines and different deadlines. So just be sure that you're checking the specific websites for each. We recommend you keep a spreadsheet of your different applications for NSF REUs. It's not uncommon to apply to 5, 7, 10. We've even had students apply for a dozen of these. Once you kind of get going, you can continue applying for them because the application process will be very similar across these different REUs. They're good for any STEM field or also in the social sciences and a few select cases. Any year, some of these are looking for students who do not have much research experience at all, and this is the opportunity to get into that. Some are looking for more experienced researchers, so you can judge accordingly by looking through the call for submissions and call for applications to kind of see what they're looking for, and we can help with that as well. Deadlines are typically around January. That's a general ballpark that we can give. And just know that a lot of these will require letters of recommendation from professors or research supervisors. So just be thinking maybe before you leave for the winter break, who are like 1 or 2 people that you think you might be able to ask for this. But these are great opportunities for research, to be able to experience a different university, make research connections all across the country. If you're interested in a particular grad school, this is a great chance to check that out. And these also often include a lot of professional development. So giving a poster presentation, being able to present your research in some capacity, or finding that they're a lot more professional development than just the research. So really great holistic experience. And these last about 10 weeks, an average of 10 weeks in the summer. Next is the DAAD RISE, which is a lot like an REU, only it is funded through the German Academic Exchange, and it is actually hosted in Germany. So this is a program for summer STEM research in Germany, working with with a PhD student in Germany. The language of the research projects is English, so you are not required to know German, but if you know some German, that will be very, very helpful for your day-to-day life. They also have an internship database. It's not as extensive as the NSF REUs, and another difference is that you can only apply to 3 of these particular internship sites. But you do get paid for your research. It was around 900 euro per month, or almost 1,000 euro per month. These are about about 10 weeks or so. It's a very flexible start date depending on the project. And the database is open now for internships. So the applications are due at the end of this month, the end of November. So if you would like to be doing some summer STEM research in Germany, this is a great opportunity to do it. It's kind of a combination of research and study abroad. We have heard from our students who have participated that the PIs and DAAD RISE are very supportive of the grantees being able to travel and experience other parts of Germany, other parts of Europe. So it's a very balanced experience with the work in the lab or the research experience, but also the cultural immersion experience as well. So if you're thinking, I would love to study abroad, but just don't have the time, but I'm also passionate about research, this is a fantastic blend of the two of them. The students that we've had who participate in this have all really, really enjoyed it. So really fantastic. With that deadline coming up, this does require an official USC transcript for your application. So if you're interested in applying for DAAD RISE, do yourself a favor and request that transcript now, because it can take a few business days to get in. Don't wait for the deadline for that. And there is a link on our website, the National Fellowships website, in the applicant toolbox to help you get to the correct place on the USC website to be able to request that transcript. So happy to help with all of that, but really great experience, research and study abroad. All right, now we're getting to the National Institutes of Health summer internships. I'm going to turn the floor over to Ria because this was her fellowship experience.
Yeah, the NIH summer internship program is mostly based in DC. So if you guys aren't familiar with the National Institutes of Health, that's a biomedical research organization. But the specific discipline you do research in can vary. So it can be bioresearch, chemistry, and public health research as well. So it depends on exactly what your interests are, because there's a wide variety of labs to choose from. It lasts for about 10 weeks, and the application typically opens mid-November or the beginning of December, and ends, depending on what specific lab you're applying to, it can be around February or March for the deadline. To apply, all you have to do is write a cover letter and then put in your resume. But instead of applying through a database like the NSF REUs are, you have to reach out to PIs yourself or apply to sub-programs specific to the institutes of the NIH. So the NIH is made up of multiple organizations within it, and they're known as NIH institutes. So that can be like one that's specific for cancer, one that's specific for allergies, and some of them will have their own deadlines within it. But it is that you have to email PIs yourself. So after you submit your application, you want to get on it very early so those spots don't end. The internships itself is a really great experience because you get to do really cutting edge research. For me, I was studying small molecule treatments for polycystic kidney disease, and I got to work with really high tech instruments that I would have no opportunity to do at USC because that kind of funding isn't available. And I got to connect with some of the leading scientists in the field, which was really awesome. There's a lot of professional development workshops along with the lab. So I worked 9 to 5 in the lab, but then I also had the opportunity to go to workshops about graduate school, about preparing for medical school, how to build my resume, and I got a lot of one-on-one guidance and experience to connect with people who would help me further my own career journey and get insights on how I can make my applications even better for further internship opportunities and then for graduate school. At the end of the program, there is a poster symposium. So out of this internship, you do get a poster, which if you're interested in research, that's something that is really beneficial to the internship. And because it is in DC, I spent a lot of my experience sightseeing. I got to go out every weekend into the middle of the city, and that was a really great part of the program, along with the actual lab work and being able to experience another city. It is different from some of the other research internships in that travel and housing is not covered, but you do get paid a stipend, and it is a pretty generous stipend. It's also open to all years, so you can apply right now as a freshman up through a senior, and there's looking for a lot of different kinds of research experience. When I applied, I had very minimal experience, and that was okay because the PIs that I was talking to just wanted to show that see that I was actually interested in learning and was interested in the project itself, but some are looking for people who are very experienced. So that depends on the PIs that you're interested in.
So Ria, I'm going to ask, how did you come to decide that you were a great fit for this particular opportunity? And this would be something that would be really beneficial for your growth as a researcher and a scholar.
Yeah, so I'm a biochemistry major and I had started in a research lab in biochemistry, but I hadn't known if that was really where I wanted to go with my research goals. At the time I was applying, I knew I wanted biomedical research to be part of my eventual career goals and that's something I wanted to continue getting involved in. And I thought a summer internship would be a great opportunity. So I was kind of applying pretty broadly to anything that sounded sort of bio-based or biochem based, but was different than the project I was already doing. I also applied to NSF-RUs at the time, and I applied to a lot of labs at the NIH, and I got a lot of rejections, but the lab that I was actually paired with, I knew that I wanted to do something focused on small molecules, but the stuff that I had applied to, the different projects, I was basically applying to everything under the sun. But in my actual cover letter, I had kept mentioning that something I was interested in was specific treatments and being able to apply things to an actual disease rather than looking at the disease itself or modeling itself. And that helped me find the actual lab I ended up in that was working on polycystic kidney disease. So kind of just being authentic to myself and trying to look at all of the internships that were available helped me realize what I was interested in and what I actually wasn't, but I just had thought I was because it was something that fell under the giant biomedical research umbrella, really helped me figure out where I was actually meant to be.
Yeah, and one of the advantages of a summer program is that, again, it's, not an entire semester. You get a kind of a taste of a particular kind of experience or a type of research or living in a particular place. And you can learn not only if you really enjoy that, you can also learn if you don't enjoy something, which is a very, very practical thing to get out of a national fellowship. It's like if you can kind of narrow down that you don't like something, that's more information moving forward, and you didn't have to spend any money to find that out. So another great perk of a summer opportunity. Thank you, Ria. I'm going to keep moving on here. Next up is the South Carolina Space Consortium. So these are a series of different fellowships that are all tied under the theme of NASA-related research or aerospace, space-related research. So there is funding for summer research internships with NASA. There are also Palmetto Academy Research Award. Those programs are going to be announced in December. There are summer research programs at schools in South Carolina, and the deadlines for all of these different opportunities is the end of January coming up. So again, lots of different opportunities. If aerospace and space technology, NASA-related research is something that you're really interested in, please come in and talk to us and we can kind of lead you through the different possibilities here. If you have any type of interest that intersect with NASA, definitely check out the South Carolina Space Consortium. That's something that's just South Carolina, which is fantastic. It can open a lot of doors there. So we haven't had anyone apply for this one in a little while, but we've definitely had some USC students participate and have gotten funding for either research projects or to fund an internship with NASA. So lots of great opportunities there. And then I wanted to include these two awards, which are not STEM specific, but have some particular components for STEM majors that might be of interest to you. So the Boren Scholarship funds critical need language study. And when we talk about critical need languages, these are languages that are not commonly taught in the US, and it will pay for you to spend either a summer if you're a STEM major or a semester or an entire academic year in that country where the language is spoken, learning that language, taking classes, things of that nature. But it's part of the STEM portion of our presentation because they realize that sometimes STEM majors cannot be away for an entire semester or academic year, and they do have an 8 to 11 week funding option as well. Just need to make sure in your application that you can relate your interest in learning the language to national security in some way, and also talk about how you as a STEM major, knowing Russian is going to be beneficial for your career, potentially for U.S. national security. This is through the Department of Defense. And this does have a 1-year federal service requirement. That's something that can be deferred until after graduate school if you do go to graduate school, but just know that if you are funded through the Boren Scholarship, you will be required to work for the federal government in some capacity for a year. And there are a lot of different options for what that service can look like and what that career can look like. And that's something that we can talk with you a little bit more about. We have a campus application process. So Heidi runs this, my colleague Heidi Bretz, and this is a really guided and a guided approach to applying for Boren. You get a lot of feedback from a campus committee of people who are faculty who are experts in your language or the area of the world you'd like to go to. So lots of fantastic feedback. And if you would like to be part of that campus process, the deadline to have your Boren application ready is January 5th. So just know that you've got some time there, but that's to get involved in the campus application process. Another abroad opportunity is the Gilman Scholarship. So if you are a student who is eligible for a Pell Grant and you're going to be studying abroad in a credit-bearing program of any length, Maymester, week, whole semester, whole academic year, you can apply for the Gilman Scholarship. It provides up to $5,000 for that study abroad experience. You also get non-compete status in the hiring status for the federal government if you're interested in that kind of work. And then there is actually a STEM supplement. So if you're going to be taking any STEM classes while you are abroad, that is also extra funding that you can be eligible for. So you can even get more than that $5,000. Or if you're going to be studying a less commonly taught language while you are studying abroad, you can also get a critical language bonus as well. So lots of different options with Gilman. Again, that's a study abroad program of any length for any student who is eligible for a Pell Grant. As long as the program is credit bearing, you could be eligible for Gilman. Gilman has 2 deadlines throughout the year. There was one earlier this fall that has already passed, but the next one for any summer program, if you want to do a Maymester or summer program, that deadline is going to be March 5th coming up. No letters of recommendation required for the Gilman Scholarship. Unofficial transcripts are fine. There are just a series of essays, and these are things that we can assist you with in our office. But we've had a lot of students do summer programs funded by Gilman, and they really seem to enjoy those. So 2 things to think about: the intersection of STEM and study abroad. Or if you're not a STEM student, Boren is available for full academic year, for a semester, and Gilman is any time of the year as well. All right, moving on a little bit more. This is kind of getting into the public health realm. So this is the CDC John R. Lewis Public Health Scholars Program. This is a program designed to introduce undergraduates and also recent graduates to topics related to minority health and health equity. So these are summer programs hosted at different institutions across the U.S., such as Columbia University, the Kennedy Krieger Institute, the Southern Plains Tribal Health Board, University of Michigan, and University of Pittsburgh, just to name a few. But they're hosted at these different locations, and each location has a slightly different area of public health that it focuses on. For example, one is about mostly maternal and child health. But it's a great opportunity for anyone who's interested in health disparities, public health, underrepresented populations, and healthcare to get experience with research, with field work, also with working with professionals from the public health field who will come in and give guest lectures. It's a lot of professional development and seeing all of the different facets of public health, studying it, and also implementing policies, and also working with communities. Programs include a stipend, housing, meals, and a travel allowance to get you to and from the site. And the deadlines, they're all slightly different depending on where it's going to be hosted, but they're usually around late January of 2026. So we've had a few CDC Lewis public health scholars in recent years, about 1 or 2 a year, and they've really mentioned that this has been a great way to explore explore different areas of public health that they might not have been able to. For example, getting into more public health research if they've been more on the policy side of things, or working with communities if they've been maybe more on the research sides of things. So it's a really comprehensive experience and great program there. All right. Moving on to the UK Summer Fulbright program, I'm going to turn the mic over to Kaylin to talk about her experience.
Yeah, so I participated in the UK Summer Fulbright during the summer of 2024. So I was a rising junior. The important thing to note about this fellowship is that it is for underclassmen, so people who are in their first or second year of undergraduate study. And I opted for year two, but it is, as it says, a 3 to 4 week summer program in the UK. And there are a whole bunch, well, I say a whole bunch, I believe like 5 or 6 different cohorts that go to different places in the UK every cycle. There's one in Wales, one in Northern Ireland, and then the one that I participated in was at the University of St Andrews in Scotland. And the theme of the institute was Scottish history, and every place is going to have a different theme. But the nice thing about it is that there were people in my cohort that were like me and were interested in literature, history, that kind of thing. But there were also people in our cohort who were pre-med, or who were music majors, or who were biology majors. And so it's a really nice grab bag of just different types of people who are all just interested in learning more about the place where we are headed. It was fully funded by the Fulbright Commission. They paid for my airfare, they paid for my lodging, some of my meals, and they also paid for me to get 3 credit hours towards my history minor, which was really awesome. Um, let's see. Yeah, the one of the things that made it a really good fit for me, apart from just being something I was really organically interested in, I've loved Scottish history for as long as I can remember, is that I had never studied or traveled, for that matter, outside of the US at all, which is something that was that those types of students are what this opportunity is really geared towards, students who have not had the opportunity to travel abroad and would like the opportunity to do that. And the deadline this year looks like February 2nd, 2026. I love talking to prospective applicants about this fellowship. So I would be so happy to talk in more detail about my experience with any of you who might be interested. I got to travel within Scotland just on my own. We had about 2 to 3 hours of classroom time per day, and the rest of our time was ours. And so we had a lot of opportunity to just explore the city, explore the country, and the things that I encountered while I was there ended up inspiring what I'm now doing for my senior thesis, which I'm almost finished with. So this was absolutely transformative for me, just in my trajectory.
Fantastic. And if this sounds really exciting to you, but maybe you're not a first or second year student, do not despair. The Fulbright UK Summer Institute is just one kind of Fulbright specifically for undergraduates. There is the Fulbright US Student Program, which is actually for students who have graduated and already earned their bachelor's degree. So this is something you can apply for your senior year or any time until you have a PhD, and it'll pay for a year of study, English teaching, research, or pursuing a creative project abroad in the country of your choosing. So not a summer opportunity, more like a academic year plus opportunity, but just know that, this is one of those types of fellowships where the Fulbright UK Summer Institute is just one version of it. There actually is a post-graduation version as well, which is super exciting, and we can definitely talk with you more about. But Kaylin, do you still keep in touch with anyone that you met during your time in Scotland?
Yes, before I answer your question, I do want to mention for this fellowship, I did need to have 2 letters of recommendation. So I picked a professor and then someone who I was working for at the time. And then the rest of it is just essays that you'll write. I just wanted to throw that out there. If this is something you're interested in, just know that there is a letter of recommendation component. So be aware of that. But to answer your question, Valerie, I do. We have a group chat that is still active because a lot of us have, or if we didn't have originally, coming away from the experience, we had a lot of overlapping interests academically that all kind of had to do with Scottish history. And so now that all of us are seniors now, at least, and wrapping up our are undergraduate or heading into grad school, we're always asking each other questions about various things based on our specific expertises. I do like late 18th and early 19th century, so I have them messaging me all the time, like I'm wanting to write a paper about, you know, the Jacobite army. Can you direct me to some good sources? And I'm like, I got you. So it's been super duper helpful just to have other people who are really passionate about even not just history, but about studying the thing that they're interested in. And we're all very, you know, precocious. And so having a bunch of people to bounce ideas off of is really, really great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that there are several different kinds of these institutes that are hosted. So yours was particularly on Scottish history, but I did look up, this is what is currently posted on the Fulbright the UK Summer Fulbright website. They might be changing this up slightly because this is the time of year when they roll out the new things if they have them. But as of my last checking, King's College was offering something about an institute about modern Britain, its institutions and different components of modern Britain. Bristol was offering an institute on arts, activism, and social justice. University of St. Andrews is obviously Scottish history, the one that Kaylin participated in. Lancaster is focusing on film. So always exciting to see something in the arts. Birmingham is about British cultural heritage, and at Queen's University Belfast, it's all about understanding Northern Ireland. So everything from film to history to modern day and in between. These are really cool interdisciplinary programs. But I would check out that website in the next few weeks to kind of see if that is exactly what they stick with. But that was the most recent information that I have.
Yeah,
Yes.
I will also say one more thing. I'm still in contact also with the professors who ran the institute, and they have been super duper helpful in connecting me with my thesis has to do with Scottish literary history, and they've been really helpful in connecting me with sources at their local like book holdings and stuff. So even though it's such a short relatively period of time compared to other fellowships, I still had the opportunity to form relationships that have persisted ostensibly with professors at University of St. Andrews and even other universities that we came into contact with. So it was really great. I think it's a big bang for your 3 to 4 week buck.
Absolutely. Definitely follow up with Kaylin and with Ria about their experiences because there's even more to tell than what we can allow for this particular info session, but lots to explore. Another opportunity that also includes an abroad component is the Humanity and Action Fellowship. So these are 3 or more week summer programs in one of several European countries that's really focused on human rights, both history and activism. So these are cohorts formed of both American and European participants. So it's another opportunity to make international connections, and each cohort will work on and create a shared project of some kind. The program is very interdisciplinary and it features daily lectures and discussions with experts in the field, academics, journalists, politicians, activists who are working in these particular areas across the world. And then it also includes site visits to different government agencies, nonprofits, and community organizations. And it really wants to provide an overview and highlight a lot of different models of action to remedy injustice. So another really comprehensive experience that you're getting over the summer. The housing, some meals, and the programming, everything you'd be participating in are no cost to the participants. But if you want to be maybe dining elsewhere or having some day trips or doing some different things outside of that, that will be a cost for you. So just something to be aware of. They also have travel stipends that can be granted on a financial need basis. Now, there is a $20 application fee, which is unusual for a fellowship. We try not to advertise fellowships that have an application fee because it's free money for cool things. That's what we're about. This is something that can be waived. And if that $20 application fee is prohibitive to you, please talk to us because we can do some things to assist with that. But just know that it is one of the rare ones that has an application fee. Also, they don't post the app when the application will open on their website. They ask you to register for their email listserv, and that is when that information will be shared. So if this is something that you're interested in, sign up for that update and you will get that sent to your email. I remember getting it last year, but it should be opening fairly soon. But that is Humanity in Action. After the summer project ends, the fellows will still continue to work on and implement their 11-month action project. So this is the independent venture that the cohort has created to combat the particular form of injustice that they have highlighted. So you get together and create this plan, and then it's up to you after the Humanity in Action actual period ends to go back and implement that in some way. So it's really interesting opportunity. So if you're interested at all in social justice activism, this is a great opportunity for that. All right. Moving along to the Critical Language Scholarship, or CLS. We do love our acronyms in the National Fellowships world. So this is another summer opportunity for intensive language learning. So this is a little bit different from Boren, in which you would propose the particular type of study abroad or language learning program that you would like to do, and then Boren comes in and funds that. I call this the Critical Language Scholarship, the all-inclusive language learning experience. This is a program that has been created by the Department of State. They have everything lined up, the particular language learning program, your teachers, sometimes homestays or host families. They have different excursions in the country that have been lined up. Everything is taken care of for you and does not cost anything to participants. So this is an 8 to 10 week experience in the country where the critical need language is spoken, and there's a blend of in-class instruction, conversation practice, and cultural immersion. Excursions. Also, you take a language pledge at the beginning of this experience to only speak in your target language throughout your time there, so you really are getting immersed in it fully. And it is possible to go from virtually no knowledge of the language to advanced intermediate proficiency by the end of the summer. For some of the languages, it is required that you have a few years of prior study, but for others, you could walk in and be completely new to the language and be able to pick it up from there. Like the Gilman Scholarship, you would have non-compete eligibility for working for the federal government upon completion of the program, if that's a career goal for you. And this one is coming up due quickly, November 18th. So about 2 weeks from now is when this one will be due. So the languages that are currently being offered are Korean, Japanese, Chinese, Arabic, Russian, Persian, Swahili, and Portuguese. So yeah, so those are the languages that are currently being offered. You can double check the website for those. This also can be credit bearing, and you can earn credit for your language study. So Kaylin participated in a particular version of the Critical Language Scholarship. This is not an option that is currently being offered, the CLS Spark program, but Kaylin can tell you a little bit about what her experience was participating in the CLS model.
Yeah, no, it's a huge bummer that they're not running Spark this year. But what it is it's 8 to 10 weeks of online language study for the languages where you need to have a certain amount of time studied prior to applying in order to be eligible to actually go abroad. So I am applying because I got that. I'm an automatic semifinalist to the one that would send me abroad to learn Russian, which was my language, which is a huge benefit of the Spark program. But it was mine was based in Moldova, and it was 2 to 3 hours of online language study with a Moldovan instructor every week or every weekday. And then we did all kinds of stuff. We did cultural activities based around Moldovan culture. I got paired with a language partner, Sergey. Big ups, Sergey. Miss him. So I could practice just conversing casually with someone who was also around my age. Um, and I came away with an intermediate level of Russian, which is pretty good for a summer of online study. And it was nice because there were multiple of us who had internships alongside doing the Spark program. So it gave us the flexibility to do multiple things over the summer. But I hope if they ever bring it back, I highly recommend it because it was a great opportunity.
I know, we hope so as well, but things do shift from year to year, and sometimes the languages shift. And there is one language that I forgot to mention. If you're interested in learning Hindi, that is a language that is being offered this year. So there are 9 critical need languages, but this is through the Department of State. And so they're really interested in students who are not just interested in language learning, but also in being cultural ambassadors, improving relationships between the US and other countries across the world. So it's kind of it has that diplomacy element to it, whereas Born is a lot of focused on national security. This one is really focused on diplomacy. So when writing your application, being thinking about how will you be a citizen diplomat while you're there? How is that going to affect your potential career and future and things of that nature? Kaylin, what did you talk about in your application for why, it was very important for you to be learning Russian?
Oh, it's funny you ask because I've been referring back to those to help me write my next essays for the abroad one. As an English major, I do a lot of literature stuff. And I think part of what made my application stand out is that I want to use my Russian language skills to do comparative literary studies. So I talked about how passionate I am about 18th and 19th century literature, and how much of a benefit it would be for me professionally to go into graduate school already having a strong command of 2 languages, my other being French that I've taken here at USC. So I really leaned into that and leveraged the fact that I've been taking some Russian literature classes just out of interest that have been super inspiring to me. So I think that for me, and this was the same with my UK Summer Fulbright application, just really leaning into your like raw organic passion for the thing that you're applying for, I think is really important and will carry as much, if not more weight than talking about all the awesome things that you've done, and making it, a resume dump. They really want to see how excited you are and engaged and passionate and about how it's going to help you in your future endeavors in some way. So that was the gist of what I talked about. I talked a little bit about my time when I was growing up in an African immigrant community, and having to learn a couple of languages just superficially while I was there, and adaptability and that kind of thing.
Amazing. No, thank you so much for sharing. So, and Sophia Rowan, who is pictured here on the CLS slide, she's an international business and finance major. And so again, coming at it from a completely different lens, a completely different field of study. So there are students of all backgrounds and disciplines who have been able to participate in CLS for various ways. And our office is here to help you bring that out in your essays and tap into the things that you are passionate about and convey them clearly in essays. So it's a great professional development opportunity to apply for some of these. All right, so if the CLS program was kind of focused on international diplomacy, cultural competency. We're still in that public service, public policy vein. The AEI Summer Honors Program is another summer opportunity, but this one is in Washington, D.C. So AEI is the American Enterprise Institute, which is a think tank in Washington, D.C. for public policy, and they host a series of 1-week public policy intensives in D.C. that each one focuses on a different area of public policy. So throughout the week, participants can take classes and have guest lectures from policy experts. There are a wide range of policy areas that will be covered throughout the summer, and you pick the top ones that you're interested in. And then if you're selected for this program, you are funded for your housing for that week, any travel that takes for you to get to and from DC. Most meals are covered, and you also get a $250 stipend for the week to use as you see fit. So if you're interested in public policy, wanting to see what that's all about, if you've never had a whole lot of experience in DC and want to know what it might be like to live and potentially work there, this is a really good opportunity, just a week long. So you could do this and other opportunities throughout your summer and fit that in. So the AEI Summer Honors Program, the application is due in early February for their early decision deadline, or early March for just their regular decision deadline. So really great to look into in the public policy realm. And then last but certainly not least, the Yale Conservation Scholars. This is a new one to talk about, not necessarily that it's a new fellowship, but it's one that I've learned about fairly recently and have been really excited about what I'm seeing and wanted to make sure that I made students aware of that tonight. So if you're interested in a career related to the environment, this is the opportunity for you. It's kind of like an REU only hosted by Yale and focused on sustainability, conservation, and the environment. And it includes a lot of those professional development opportunities as well. Students from backgrounds that are historically underrepresented in environmental institutions are encouraged to apply. It's not exclusive to those populations, but very much encouraged to apply. And this is a paid 9-week environmental internship / research opportunity at sites along the northeastern USA. So you could be at Yale or around the university, but you could also be placed kind of anywhere up throughout the Northeast. Also have seen a few sites in Michigan. So if you've not been in Michigan for the summer, it's a fantastic place to be. So all kinds of different opportunities to get involved in different aspects of environmental research, working with the public, or other internships. They also have a capstone symposium at the end of the summer, bringing all of the scholars back together to report on what they have been doing that summer. Lots of professional development and mentorship throughout. And it provides an $8,000 stipend that you'll be paid for the work that you'll be doing that summer, whether that's research, interning, outreach, things of that nature. And then you get about $3,000 for housing, food, travel, and just discretionary spending. So pretty comprehensive. All years are welcome. And if you're, again, looking for a pretty comprehensive experience in environmental fields, and you're looking for something to kind of take that next step toward a career related to the environment, Yale Conservation Scholars is definitely something to look into. I don't know if USC has ever had a Yale Conservation Scholar. It's one of those where you don't have to tell our office if you're applying, so maybe we have and I just am not aware. But if anyone applies for this and wins, you'd be the first that we would know of. So that's an exciting thing to consider as well. And again, all years are welcome. They have a priority deadline of December 1st and January 4th is their final deadline. So something exciting to think about for the summer. All right, so that was sort of the end of our rapid fire roundup of summer opportunities. These are not the only ones that are available. Once again, I really encourage you to check out our National Fellowships database. It's called the Info Database, and search for even more summer opportunities. But if you're wondering about what next step should be after this little webinar, definitely continue engaging in your classes. Something that's been a recurring theme this evening is that you have to lead with the thing that you are really passionate about when it comes to applying for fellowships. And there are some fellowships out there that can help you discover more about the types of things that you're passionate about. And then there are some that really let you dive deep into the things you already know you want to focus on. So being self-aware, self-reflective, how you want to spend your time in your classes, the coursework that you're doing can help you discover that. If there's a class that you really love, a particular lesson that has resonated with you, or a professor whose work you're just fascinated by, keep following that fascination. You can review the websites for any program that you found interesting. Again, I'll be sending out these slides and you can follow the links. And in our info database, we also link out to any fellowship's website. I invite you to connect with a fellowship ambassador who has a fellowship experience that you're interested in. On our National Fellowships website, you can see all 20+ of our fellowship ambassadors and coffee chat volunteers who have participated in everything from NIH and UK Summer Fulbright to the Gilman Scholarship to the Goldwater Scholarship, all kinds of different opportunities, and you can get free coffee with them. We will pay for the on-campus beverage of your choice, and our FAs, I think, really love the coffee chat, so please help them and help yourself get some free coffee and some great advice. And you can do things in any particular order. If you want to have a coffee chat first, great, and then meet with a member of the advising team, fantastic. If you want to flip-flop it, that's totally fine as well. But I also encourage you to make an appointment to talk about any of the options you're interested in with either myself or someone else from the National Fellowships team. We can help you get started and brainstorm next steps. We're here to help you from exploration to hitting submit to being your biggest cheerleader while you wait for results to come out, and then even helping you determine next steps, whether you're a fellowship recipient or not. So we're here for you every step of the way and can help with any stage of that process. I would recommend that you find recommenders before the end of the semester. So take some time as you're engaging in your classes to think about whose class am I taking this semester that I think could write a strong letter of recommendation for me? Or maybe it's a course that you took last year or the year before. Maybe there's a professor that you could reconnect with before the end of the semester. Go to their office hours, remind them how much you enjoyed their class and the types of things that you learned from it. These are all great strategies to help build your professional network, build those connections, because as Kaylin talked about with her experience with UK Summer Fulbright, once you make a connection academically, that can continue to enrich your academic experience, even if you're on different continents. And I'm sure the same way goes with RIA, with the researchers that you were able to connect with as well. It just really helps to build your professional connections and helps to build you as a person. Definitely start planning for drafts and deadlines. A lot of these are falling around December through February, which might seem far away in February's case, but it's closer than you realize. So if you need any help with setting a timeline for yourself, I love strategic planning. So one of my favorite things to do is sit down with students and be like, all right, here's your goal. How can we get there? So we're happy to help with that. And then continue meeting with us for guidance and feedback throughout your application. It's not like you only meet with us and can never see us again. You can meet with us as many times as you like. And we do have essay review appointments, which are about an hour long, and we will give you feedback on your application. So all sorts of options available for you. So there's my contact information and also our social media handle at U of SC Fellowships. Lots of great information going out on Instagram about upcoming info sessions, workshops, deadlines, things like that. You can make an appointment with me on EAB Navigate, just like you would meet with your academic advisor. And then if you go to the Getting Started page, which is the QR code, that'll take you to where you can get started by making an appointment, exploring info, and also requesting a coffee chat with our fellowship ambassadors. So thank you so much for sticking with us for about this hour. I'm going to stop the recording. Yeah.